Hello Nation, and welcome back to the Homestead. Well, today we're back out here with Steck with my main man Jay, and Jay's going to help us out today. He's going to tell us what to look for if we're going to buy a used tractor. All right, Jay, so I'm going to volley it up to you and just let you take over the show here. If I just have to have a used tractor, can you help our viewers out? Maybe tell us what to look for, what if there's going to be any red flags or anything like that. Not when you're coming to a dealer, but if you're going to buy it from Joe Schmuckatelli out there on the street.
So the first thing in a used tractor is you need to decide what used tractor you want. A lot of people shop brand name, a lot of people shop color, a lot of people shop horsepower. So you got to decide what, get you a checklist and decide what you're looking for. There's a lot of different avenues to look. There's Facebook, the marketplace, there's Craigslist, there's, yeah, it's out there. So there's a lot of more people have used tractors out there than you can shake a stick at. So when you're looking for a used tractor, you find the one you want to go look at. Generally not in your hometown. So you have to drive somewhere. So what I like to do is I always like to call up a friend, to take a friend with me, have an extra pair of eyes, something to bounce off ideas with. And so that's a selling point to me. But when I go to look for a tractor, the first thing I'm going to do is I want to drive up and make sure it's the tractor that we're talking about. There's a lot of pictures out there that can be photoshopped, and all that stuff can take place. So make sure you're looking at the tractor that you're supposed to be looking at. Make sure it's clear. Ask your questions. So you want to know, is there service records on this tractor? Has it been serviced by anybody recently, a dealer or whatever? So when's the last time the oil was changed in the tractor? Or ask them what they do. I would look to see if it's sitting underneath the shed or outside. So I'd start looking at the appearance of the tractor. Now, most tractors are designed are going to fade in color, not like a car. A car won't fade as much, but most tractors will fade over time because they don't have the automotive style paint in the old days that they do now. So, but they'll start looking at it. So I'll start walking around the tractor. I'm gonna look at things like the tire tread, make sure everything is good with the tire tread. I'm gonna make sure, see if I see any plugs in the tires. Make sure I see things like that. Then I'm gonna start looking at the wear points on the tractor. If it has a front end loader, I'm gonna look at the bar on the front, the tooth bar on the front, or the cut bar on the front to see how bad it's wore. I'm gonna start looking at the pins to see if they've got grease in them, to see if they're wore or sloppy or whatever. So I'm gonna look for things like that. I'm gonna go around to the back of the tractor, look at the 3-point hitch and see how it is. See if they got nuts and bolts that from a telephone pole stuck through it, or if they got the original bolts and stuff in it. So I'm gonna be looking for things like that. Then I'm gonna pick up the hood on the tractor, and I'm gonna look at the engine, and I'm gonna check the antifreeze and water in the radiator. I'm gonna look at the radiator screen, see if it's cleaned, or if it's this thick in dust. I'm gonna check the oil, I'm gonna check the hydraulic fluid, and I'm looking for levels. I'm looking to see if it's, I'm gonna feel the oil, see if it's oily or if it's watery. And so just several things like that. Once I do all that and I decide, hey, this is something I want to look at, I'm gonna get on the tractor and I'm gonna crank it up. And I want to be the first one to crank it that day. I don't want him to tell me that he just cranked it up and drove it out here. When I see that, that's sort of a red flag for me, because I want to be the first one on it, because I want to know what it's like when it cranks up that morning. Most older tractors, because of emissions and knot on them, when you crank them up, they're going to smoke. That doesn't bother me. But after a minute and it's still smoking, that bothers me. So I want to look at things like that. So then I'll rev it up. I want to listen to it and hear, see if I hear any knocking. Now I'm deaf in one ear, can't hear out the other ear. But when you rev a tractor up, you can hear it, and you'll be able to know if there's something wrong with it. So you want to do that. Then I'm going to reuse the front end loader. I'm going to pick it up, let it down. I'm going to dump it over, roll it over, see how it responds to the hydraulic pump, and see if it squeals and whines and all that stuff. I'm going to also, at the same time, I'm going to do the 3-point hitch the same way. And then, so I'm going to check the transmission out. And this is one thing that I'll tell you as far as checking the transmission out. If it's a manual transmission, you can put it in gear and let the clutch out and mash the brakes. And if it stalls the tractor out, the clutch is good. If the tractor just stops the clutch is not good. So you can look at those things like that. So you're looking for a lot of hidden things at that point that you can't see. There's no way you can know everything. And you may buy that tractor and it may be a perfectly good tractor today. You drive it down the road and it breaks. Things are going to break.
Yeah, but that could happen when a new tractor.
That's a brand new tractor. But that's the advantage of a new tractor. Most likely if it breaks on a new tractor, it's covered under warranty and somebody else is going to fix it. When it's your tractor,
you got to fix it.
You got to fix it.
So. Okay. Are there anything like that, like a red flag, that if you walked up and you saw it right away, like obviously if you walked up and you saw hydraulic fluid on the ground or a bunch of oil on the ground, you turn around and walk away, but is there anything?
No, I wouldn't turn around and walk away. I'd want to know where it's coming from. I mean, I'm a realistic person. I know that when I'm buying I'm 62 years old. When I get up in the morning, I know I'm 62 years old. Okay, and I understand that. So when I buy a used tractor, I know it's a used tractor. So but I want to know where it's coming from. I want to know how much it's leaking. I want to know how long has it been sitting here. How long is it? Did that oil dot happen in an hour, or did it happen in 6 weeks? So I'm a realistic person. There are a lot of good used tractors out there. A lot of good used tractors. You just got to make sure you get the right one.
Now, do hours play any bit on? I know you and I had a discussion about hours one time, and especially like when it comes to a diesel motor and stuff like that. Can you re-elaborate that for my viewers there?
Sure. So diesel engine, all tractors made today are all diesels. You can't buy a single tractor on the market that's not a diesel. So that's a great point. But diesel engines are designed to run and perform more than a gasoline engine. So when you look at a tractor, most people about 50 hours. So if you look at remember when we talked about the half that use it every day and the half that use it some. So the half that use it some, probably 50 hours a year is probably a good point. Most people are around that point, 50 hours. If I use it every day, or if I use it more, then probably about 200 hours a year is a good point that you can use. But so one thing I'll tell you about the tractor is that the tractor is based upon the RPMs. So if you run the tractor at 2,200 RPMs, that's full throttle. That means for every hour that you run the tractor, you put an hour on the tractor. If you run it at 1,000 RPMs, for every hour you put on the tractor, you only put a half hour on the tractor. So that's something that people will call up and say, I drove it for 5 hours and only put 3 hours on the tractor. Well, you didn't run it full throttle the whole time. So that's the difference. So hour meters, I've got a tractor with 3,300 hours on it. It's a 2004 model. I use it to bale hay and rake hay and cut hay, and during the summer it never rests. So not worried about it. I keep the oil changed just like you do in a new one. Every 70 hours I change the oil in my tractor. And so I do that, and I'm very firm about that. So as long as you maintain it, keep good oil in it, good air flow in it, and good fuel in the tractor, they'll last you a lifetime.
So any type of what would make you walk up if you saw it right away? Like if you walk up to this John Deere right here, what would make you just walk up, you would see it, and then turn around and say, no, this ain't for me?
So first thing is I'm an engine person, so I want to look at the engine first. So I'm gonna look at the tractor, eyeball it. I'm gonna say, hey, normal wear and tear. It's got scratches, dents, dings. That doesn't matter to me. It's a tractor. When I bought my new one, I drove it straight to the woods and scratched it. My wife liked to have a fit, but that's what you do. So you buy it to use. So when I walk up to it and I see the front cylinder is leaking down, or the oil is no oil on the dipstick, or it smokes like smokes like a freight train, I'm gonna probably walk away from something like that. But then again, if the price is right, I mean, so you gotta look at it. So there's a lot of people out there. I mean, I just bought a used tractor to get one part. I bought a tractor to get one part.
Really?
Yes. So they don't make it anymore. You can't get it anymore, and it's off my wife's uncle's tractor, and we wanted to restore it, and I needed a part, so I bought another tractor. I didn't even crank it up to see if it run. I bought it for one part.
Just for one part. And that's one of the things that you have to take into consideration when you're buying used, like we talked about in the other video. Yep. Anything over, what did you say, 10 or
10 years?
10 years, you might start to have issues because they're not fabricating that part anymore.
Well, and so when anything over 10 years, you're going to probably start seeing some delay in your parts. There will be plenty of parts out there, but it's just not going to be, you know, at the dealership. You have to go to a warehouse, and this warehouse might not have it. They might have to go to the next warehouse to have it. So but there are parts out there. You're not going to get out there and buy a tractor 10, 20 years old and not have parts. That's not going to happen. But it's just going to be a slower process to get the parts.
So there you go. Again, Jay's helped us out with a lot of great information. And look, if you're in the Anderson, South Carolina area and you're in the market for a tractor, I highly encourage you to come over here, talk to Jay over here at Steck. Or, I mean, well, let me ask you this. Does Steck offer a service where if somebody was gonna buy a tractor from Joe Schmuckatelli, that they could pay to have your technicians look over it or anything? Or is that, I mean... So
I'll tell you what the answer to that question is. My boss will tell you the answer is always yes.
Okay.
You just have to make it yes.
Just have to make it yes?
So so the answer is yes. You know, so we'll just have to make it yes.
Have to make it yes.
And so and we try to treat people the way we want to be treated.
There you go. That's awesome. That's what I love about you guys. So if you're in the Anderson, South Carolina area and you're in the market for a tractor, hey, come on over here, see my buddy Jay, tell him that Jason and Robin at Big Bear sent y'all over there. Shoot, if you're just in the area, just drop by and say hello. That way he knows he was seen on YouTube. Help boost up the old man's ego.
Yeah, that's right. Come have a cup of coffee with me.
There you go. Well, I hope this video helped you out when it comes to purchasing a used tractor. If you're still up in the air about new or used, look, go check out our conversation with Jay about new versus used. We'll put the link to that video in the description. And go get yourself a tractor, because I promise you it will help you on your homestead, and it makes it a lot more enjoyable too. It's fun to have a tractor to get out there and do things. Trust me on that. Thanks for coming by the Big Bear Homestead. God bless, and have a nice day.